Draper City Talk is a podcast produced by the municipal government of Draper City, Utah, where we discuss local government services and issues and the community at large. Hi, Draper City. Mayor Troy Walker back with you for our Draper Talk podcast. I would like to thank Asia and Alex today for producing our show. I'm excited because we have a very, very exciting topic coming up, and so we have a great guest today. Today with me, we have Mr. Scott Cooley, who is our Public Works Director, and in charge of all the public works in the city, which includes our topic today, roads. So, Mr. Cooley, welcome. Thanks for coming. We're glad to have you. Tell us a little bit about your background.
Well, I've done a lot of roads in my career, and at Draper City, we have a lot of roads that we maintain and a lot of new roads that have come online since I've been here 11 plus years.
Give us a little background on your personally, like your education, your experience, that kind of stuff.
Okay. I have a bachelor's degree from Brigham Young University and have worked probably about 15 years in the private sector and now 16 years in the public sector.
And your degree is in engineering?
Civil engineering.
Civil engineering.
Yes.
Okay. And I always say I always know when I'm working with you, you think exactly like an engineer.
I do.
Always.
I think and act like an engineer.
He does, folks.
And it can drive people crazy, but I know how I think and I know what I'm thinking, so. Yeah. I get into the weeds quite a bit.
It's always fun, like working on some project with you because you always bring that full engineer perspective.
Yes.
So how long have you been practicing civil engineering?
For over 30 years.
All right. And how long have you been at Draper?
For over 11 years now.
Okay. And when you got here, we were 11 years ago. We were kind of a different city. Let's specifically, when you got here, what was the situation with our roads, our public roads?
So I would say that there was a plan, but it was a plan that was unfunded. There really wasn't a way to accomplish the plan that we had before us. So we spent a lot of time, multiple years, trying to refine that plan and come up with a way that we could feasibly accomplish the work that we needed to on our existing roads, to keep them, to first of all get them in decent shape, and then to keep them in decent shape moving forward.
So some of our roads, I mean, do you remember lane miles? How many lane miles we have?
I do not remember that. I'm sorry.
It's a fair amount, I remember. But some of our roads are old. I mean, they've been here a long time. Some of their original roads. We've got city roads, and then we have some state highways that intersect and drive through our city. The state highways are 123rd.
Yeah, 123rd and 700 East.
13th East is not a state highway.
No, it's not.
Okay, so 700 East, 123rd South.
And 114th South.
Yeah, 114th. So those the freeway through turns that we have that are so popular, they were brought to us by UDOT because that's their road. Okay, so folks, if you're still bugged about the through turns, that was not Mr. Cooley.
That was not.
But they do work. So I guess
they function, and everyone tries to avoid them like I do.
All right, let's talk a little bit about our city roads. And we have a city road. It's our job, your job, to make sure that the road stays in a good state of repair, gets replaced when its life is up, or you do treatments or various things to keep the roads, make them last longer. So talk about kind of how you approach our city roads.
Our existing roads, the methodology, the theory behind this is if you can treat them up front and over the lifespan, they're going to last longer. So really the two enemies of roadway is, the sun oxidizes the pavement, and then weather, water getting into the road creates issues when it freezes. So the freeze-thaw cycle and then the oxidation. So over time, roads will just wear out in addition to the traffic loads on our busier streets. But If you're talking about just like a regular residential road, it's pretty much the oxidation and the water that gets in the roads that damages those roads.
A lot of times I'll have people say to me, that we'll go through a neighborhood, like for example, and maybe it's a newer neighborhood, maybe it's 10 years old or even newer.
Yeah.
And we'll do our slurry seal or our treatment on it. And I'll have residents say to me, hey, how come you haven't come into my older neighborhood and treated the road? Like, why are you treating these new roads? They're pretty new. Explain that a little bit, because I know people ask about that.
Yeah. So before the material oxidizes, if we can get a surface coat on there, that preserves the life of that road down the road a ways. So rather than have a 20-year road, we could get 30, 40 years out of that residential road, for example. If we don't do that, then the oxidation and those other elements take place, and it does wear the road out faster. So that was one of the things when I got here. A significant amount of the residential roads were just on a reconstruction only list, and there was not enough funding to reconstruct.
And that's important, because reconstruction means we chip it out.
You're taking
go to the base and put a whole new layer of asphalt down.
Yes, and in some cases the base is not strong enough to support the road, so we have to replace the base as well.
And before you got here, that was our plan. We reconstructed them as they came up and as we could afford it.
Yeah, and we did not afford very many.
Because reconstruction is the most expensive thing you can do.
Yeah, it's probably 20 times the cost
of the
surface treatment.
So let's talk a little bit about that. So over the years, you've been here 13, right?
11.
11. Over the 11 years, the cost of asphalt has gone up.
Yes.
The cost of road base has gone up.
Everything has gone up significantly the past 5 years.
Because I remember when I was first elected, it's been a while, we could pave like a 60-foot wide mile of asphalt, and I want to say it was under I don't know, a couple $100,000 for that mile. Now, what do you think a mile of asphalt?
I don't know. My engineers that work with me, they crunch those numbers, and I don't really have an understanding of that, but I do know that the cost has increased significantly the past 5 years. So we've had to learn how to do more with less money. And so one of the approaches that we've taken is we've used different surface treatment. So for some of these roads, especially the residential roads where they don't get a lot of truck traffic, there's not a lot of heavy traffic on them, but there's a lot of cracking, but the base material is solid. We'll go in and put in a different type of a seal. It's called a scrub seal, and it gets into the cracks.
Is that the gravelly type of seal?
And then once that seals, then we'll come back with a regular slurry seal on top of that, and we will put gravel on that. And we've done that now for several years, and those roads are actually doing really well. Better than we anticipated, actually.
So the preservation treatments are the slurry seal, the crack seal, and that gravel.
The scrub seals.
Scrub seal.
Yeah.
Okay. And those are. Of course, they're not super cheap, but they're affordable.
Yeah, they're considerably less money.
And as you look at, so you guys have a map of the city. You've inventoried all the roads. You know the condition. You know which ones need reconstruction, right?
Yeah. So when we go through, and we actually had a lot of help in doing this. We got people from U.S.A. that came down. They helped us inventory the roads and determine how much what they call a remaining service life is left in the roadway. And so that's how we prioritize the roads and what we need to do on each road.
So we're spending some money on the new roads right now to extend their life, because we know the data's clear. We do this protective stuff or this treatment, it makes those roads go in, and then we're dealing with some of these older roads that can't take a treatment because they need new asphalt or something like that.
Yes, there are some of those. And so our road maintenance budget, or approximately how much we get or spend each year, is about $3 million, which is very significant. If we didn't spend that, we would be in significant cost down the road, and it would be impossible to catch up.
So we're taking our B and C road money we get from the state formula, Plus, there was another fifth of the fifth transportation tax that got put on by the county a few years ago, and that's like almost $1 million extra to us, right?
Yeah,
So,
that's approximately $3 million right there.
So-
those two funding sources.
and so you're taking that $3 million and you're spending it. You know how you want to spend it.
Yes.
You've got every road inventoried, and so folks, when you see us out there in the summer, we're doing it. We have a plan. It's on purpose, and we're trying to extend the life of these assets for our community.
That's right. And it is, if you live on one of these roads and you're getting the treatment, it's a pain. I won't deny it, but it's very necessary. If we didn't do this 10, 15 years from now, you would be regretting that we didn't do that.
So let's talk about some of the other stuff like potholes. We're coming into pothole season, okay? And there is, I do get a few calls here and there from people. Mayor, there's a massive pothole here. Let's talk about potholes. Why do we get potholes, and how do we deal with the potholes?
So potholes there's different ways that roads can fatigue and fail. If it's a very isolated section, it can be because of the base or even the subgrade below the base. But typically there are weather conditions. Water has gotten in there and frozen and expanded, and over time that process of freezing, thawing creates potholes. Usually there's other issues, but that's kind of the icing on the cake of what happens. And then the impact of vehicles on those areas start to pop out the asphalt as it breaks up.
How do we deal with potholes? And I know people are going to say we don't do it very well, but we do it. We do. Tell everybody how we deal with them.
So potholes are tricky because we don't have good asphalt to use to make repairs in the dead of winter. The asphalt plants are shut down. So we're just trying to put a Band-Aid fix on the pothole. However, in the past couple of years, we did get some new equipment that allows us to put more of a mastic type of a product that's more flexible, and we can put that in the winter. So we're able to actually put a permanent repair on these smaller potholes that we were not able to do a couple of years ago. But to make a proper repair on a decent-sized pothole, we really have to cut it out all the way down to the base and replace the asphalt.
So sometimes in the winter, and asphalt has to have a certain temperature in order to effectively be cure when it's put down, right? So,
yeah. So in the past, we've used what's called a cold mix, and it's cold asphalt, and it does not compact very well, and it can come out fairly easily. But
I know, because I remember last year there was one of the potholes, I think it was in a roundabout, that I think we cold patched it multiple times, and then people kept calling and saying you can't get this pothole fixed. But that's a factor having to do with the temperature more than anything, right? To that type of material. And you're out looking for potholes. And of course, public reports.
We get those, and we respond as quickly as we can. If we know about it, we're going to get out there and fix it.
And that's the key. We have to know about it in order to get out there to fix it. So, as this winter comes along, and I don't know what the prediction is. I saw it's supposed to be warmer but wetter, so I don't know what that means. But
you never know.
If you see a pothole developing, our public works line, is that the best way to report it? Or on our website?
Yeah, either one.
And your commitment is, as soon as we know, we're going to go out there and try and fix it with whatever method will work.
Yeah,
depending on the time of year.
Yes, and we're not doing a lot of cold mix now that we have this new equipment. So it's usually going to be a mastic permanent repair.
And and one of the things I've appreciated about you over the years and getting to work with you on different things is your emphasis is on doing the job correct.
Yes.
Like there's been a lot of times you've said to me, hey, the only way we can really fix this, we're going to have to tear the base out. We had a big road over the back of the mountain down into Utah County, and talk a little bit about that. That was an example of a road that was designed right but not built right, and it failed way earlier than it should have.
Yeah, there is a lot of areas where back in the day the construction wasn't done correctly, it wasn't inspected correctly. Those days are over. We inspect. We have a rigorous inspection. I've got 4 full-time inspectors that are out there watching construction. So what we get now is a much better quality. It's not uncommon. Occasionally we have to have contractors rip out the asphalt that they put in because it doesn't meet the specifications.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a second, because we just did a big project on 138
Yes.
South. Talk a little bit about that project. Talk about how that came to be, how long we've been planning to do that project, how we funded it, and then let's talk about that, what you just said, which we had to have some asphalt taken out because it didn't meet your specs. Talk a little bit about 138. That's probably the road that's given people the most pause this year.
Yeah, well, we actually just opened that yesterday. So
Awesome.
it's now open to the public, and it's a great finishing cap of that whole 138 section from Bangerter Parkway to 1300 East. And this was the section from Fort Street to 1300 East. How we pick these roads, maybe we should talk about that just a little bit, but how we select these roads. This section was selected because there was a lot of drainage and flooding issues.
Yeah, there was no storm drain on 13800
There
South.
there was a storm drain, but it was undersized significantly, but there was no curb and gutter to catch the storm water. So whatever fell on the street, it just went into people's yards and continued on. So it was a known problem for a long time, and then we had the floods of 2023. And at that time, the council asked us, is there anything that we can do? And we said, yes, we can put this road in. It's an expensive road, expensive project. But we did upsize that storm drain, and we put the curb and gutter in. We added sidewalk to both sides. Very impactful. I want to mention that, to the residents, because these roads come with a cost, and the people on these roads, they pay a high price to have that. We do pay them. So it took us about 2 years in preparation for that to get that project where we could start the construction. And that was a multi-agency, I should say. You had the sewer district, who was upsizing and changing their sewer line, as well as Water Pro changing the water line in there. So it really kind of was 3 projects in one. And we did that. It took us, we have a kind of a narrow window. We try to avoid the school, we're trying to get in there when school's not in session. And we did that. They're just completing it right now. They've got some side treatments that they're going to be doing the next month. But in regards to the asphalt that was placed originally,
Let me just back up 1 second there. So 138, we did like a real whole-scale improvement of that road.
Yes.
With upsized stormwater. Most importantly, curb and gutter to get the stormwater in the storm
That's
drain.
right.
Sidewalk for people to be able to walk up and down the street. It's fantastic. How did we fund that project?
that was through multiple funding sources, but it was all city funded, no federal funds on that project. So we drew from, traffic impact fees. We drew from the stormwater impact fees and stormwater fund. There's multiple sources that we drew from.
How much did that road cost to do all that we did?
I want to say it was $4 to $5 million. I can't remember for sure.
So it was an expensive project for us. It was more than our whole road budget for the year, for sure.
Yes, by far.
So, okay, so in that process, it took a little longer. A couple of weeks was delayed, but there was a lot of issues. You had all those utilities that were trying to work in the same holes, if you will, same trenches. And then we had some trench, sand, some of the soil issues. But really, it was about 2 weeks longer than we expected, maybe 3. Is that what was the time?
There were some issues with some of the design aspects on these utilities. For example, the sewer that delayed the project, and because of how deep the sewer is, we're into pure sand. Sand is very difficult to work with in trenching. It just caves in.
Right.
So that did delay the project 2 to 3 weeks.
But otherwise, you'd say it was a successful project.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So we had a little section there that got paved, and then you said we had them remove the asphalt. So talk about that quality control.
Yeah, so when they bring the asphalt in, it has to meet certain specifications. That includes the size of the rocks that's in it, the binder, which is the black stuff that makes asphalt, and it has to meet compaction, which basically is going to tell you if they can meet all those specifications, we're confident that this road is going to last. And they were out of spec in several areas, but primarily in the compaction, significantly out. So they had to replace that. They had to take it out and replace it. And same thing happened on 300 East when we did 300 East. They replaced that road and it looked fine, but because we test it in laboratories, we actually do core samples and take them to the lab, and they test those. They break it down, and we know exactly what's in there and how well it was compacted.
So I appreciate, as mayor, and I know council members, we appreciate the fact that we're getting a really a very detailed quality control analysis on all this construction we're doing now. And that, like I said, we talked about earlier, that has not always been the case. I mean, there was a lot of years when we weren't as sophisticated, didn't have as good of professionals necessarily, or the focus on quality control and what it means, down the road. So that was a really big project. Let's talk about, like, in the last 10 years, what are the big projects that you can think that we've done?
All right. So I would like to kind of define that into a couple of categories. So we have widening projects. So I would call the 138th South a widening project. And it originally, we started at Bangerter Parkway, and it's gone now to all the way to 1300 East. So widening projects like that, we have 1300 East. That was all the way from Pioneer to Highland Drive. That's actually over 1.5 miles. We did that in 3 different projects, so over 3 different years.
Okay.
300 East widening from 122nd South, which is the roundabout over by the post office, all the way down to 138 South. That's almost 2 miles that we did that in 4 projects over the years. 138 South that we just talked about, and then Highland Drive from Traverse Ridge to Minuteman. We widened that project as well. So those are probably the biggest widening projects that we have. But then there's connectivity projects, and these actually are more impactful, I would say, than the widening projects, because these connect 2 points that were not connected before. And so we had 3 major projects, well, multiple projects, but 132nd South was a huge one.
Now let's talk about that for a second, because that project was something that I've worked on since when I first got elected as a council member. I mean, you'd ride down the end of 132 and it'd hit the railroad tracks, and you would think, why does this not connect? And it was years like that.
Yeah.
And then, of course, if you're a fireman or a police officer trying to get to the east side or to get over there to render aid, or you couldn't go that way unless you had a 4-wheel drive vehicle. Well, let's talk about that, because that was a big deal. That probably added more safety to our public safety response to anything we've done since I've been here.
Yeah, it was a huge deal. I don't know that the residents of Draper realize how much of an obstacle the tracks are in the city. There's not that many crossings, and it's because of those tracks. So,
and UTA doesn't like to give crossings.
No, they don't. You have to give one up to get one. So that's and that's how they look at it. So they're very controlled on how many accesses you can have across those tracks. So when we were able to get that with UTA, that was a big win for the city.
And I will say that one of my outside jobs as mayor, I've served on the UTA board for a long time, and at that time I was on the board, and I think I helped facilitate the conversations with UTA to get that open, and so that was a big deal for us. I mean, it was. It really was.
That was a huge deal, and it's made a huge difference. I
remember people along the road were just worried it was going to ruin their whole life. It was going to ruin their property value, all that stuff that you always hear. And what it's really done is created a safe bike lane the whole length from from 4th Street all the way to Highland Drive, Highland Drive.
Right.
Curb gutter sidewalk all the way, stormwater all control, and a place for people to park in front of their houses that didn't exist before. So. Turned out beautifully.
Yes, and going to that aspect of, the concern that people have, every time we do a project, we hear about those kinds of concerns, and they're real, and that these are impactful to the residents. We understand that. We all drive on these types of roads every day, all of us throughout the state, regardless of where you work or live. You drive on these roads, and now that it becomes secondhand. Everyone just knows that that's a road, and it's very helpful in being able to get from point A to point B.
Yeah, you look at it and like, well, of course, duh. Why would this have ever been an issue?
It all makes sense.
Okay, we don't have much time left. Tell me about the future. What the next 3 big projects you think you've got coming up?
All right. So, we rely on federal funding for a lot of our projects. So in the next couple of years.
Oh yeah, and those guys aren't working right now.
Oh yeah. Well,
yeah, happy Halloween. Yeah, right. Happy Halloween. The government shut down. Go ahead.
So we have 2 fairly large projects coming up. One is on Lone Peak Parkway from 123rd South down to about 12650 South. It's an existing road, but we're going to realign it and widen it so that it is more efficient at traffic volumes that we have out there. We've got a lot of new apartments out there, just a lot of new traffic that we didn't have 20 years ago.
Okay.
So at the same time, we're working with UDOT. UDOT is going to widen 123rd from I-15 just past Lone Peak to the west.
Okay.
So those 2 projects are going to be done in conjunction with each other, and it's going to be a large project. Our project alone on Lone Peak is over $12 million. So it's a very large project.
And I've seen UDOT guys out there actually today. I can see them out there. They're starting to measure. My law office is on 123rd and 136 West, and I saw them out there today, and I thought, I know what those guys are doing. Yeah. So those are the 2 big projects coming.
So that's kind of the one project for us. The other one that's coming is Fort Street. That's probably 2 years out.
Okay.
And that's going to be from Pioneer down to 132nd South.
Okay. And what are we going to do on Fort Street?
We're going to widen that. It's a widening project. So it's going to be widened with adding curb, gutter, and sidewalk.
Okay.
So
from all the way from Pioneer.
From Pioneer to 132nd.
132. Okay. And how many years away is that?
That's probably 2 years away.
Okay. We got that funded yet?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's federally funded. It's ready to go. We're finishing the design right now, and then it'll be ready to go.
It'll get out to the public. They'll be able to comment on it and look at it. And so, well, Scott, thank you for taking the time. I mean, I know we could probably talk for a couple hours about all this different stuff, but I think one of the things you've added to our city with your talent and skill is a really good road maintenance plan. A plan that's improving the life of all of our roads, and then of course, looking for the things that we need to do to make more connectivity, take care of the stormwater, which is is a big deal. These swale roads or roads without curb and gutter, they look cool in the country in the country days, but we have to get that stormwater handled because it as we know, as the storms have intensified, you might go 2 months without a drop of rain, and then you'll get 150 years worth of it in 2 minutes or 10 minutes. It's a big deal for us. So
we learned that in 2023, August of 2023, and if that would have happened 10 years earlier, this city would have been in significantly worse position.
Yeah, every stormwater project that goes in improves that for the future. That storm, I remember, that storm cost about $5-6 million in 20 minutes, didn't it?
Yeah, we are still doing repairs from that storm, and there's still things that we are discovering every month or two that we didn't know about.
Well, Draper, we have an excellent public works director who's committed to all the things transportation and other things, but he's done a great job. I'm very glad we have Scott. He's been fantastic in all the projects. So Scott, thank you again, and until next time while you're driving on your roads, think about all that goes into it, how much it costs, and we are really trying our best to improve and widen and make Draper more accessible and flow better. So again, thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time. For timely information about Draper City news, events, traffic alerts, and public safety emergencies, You may subscribe to email or text notifications from Draper City by visiting draperutah.gov/notify or follow us on social media at Draper City, Utah on Facebook, at Draper City on Instagram and X, and at Draper City Gov on YouTube. This has been Draper City Talk. Please join us again.